Very happy good evening to one and all present in this virtual workshop, second day. I once again welcome you all to this virtual workshop on research data management. And today we are going to have discussion about the next topic in research data management on different competencies and role of librarian involved in practices of research data management. And on this occasion, we have very distinguished speaker, Mr. Nikesh Narayan from Jayed University, UAE. Before I begin the session, I would like to give a brief introduction about Mr. Nikesh Narayan. He is working as an assistant professor and also as information technology librarian at Jayed University. He is a library system expert with a specialization in web-scale discovery solutions, ILS implementation, remote access, repositories, and industrial ORCID implementation. He secured Master of Technology in Information System and Management with a gold medal from the University of Mysore. Besides, he has also master degrees in library and information science as well as commerce. Before joining Jayed University, UAE, Mr. Nikesh served in different capacities as system librarian at Khalifa University, Abu Dhabi, and also took a lead role in implementing state-of-the-art library system for the university. Mr. Nikesh has extensive experience in leading the technical operations at EBSCO, serving as EBSCO Discovery Engineer, and he has, to his credit, he has implemented over 100 EBSCO discovery profiles across India and South Asia to deliver seamless and integrated discover user experiences in libraries. Mr. Nikesh has also worked in Mahatma Gandhi University Library, Kottayam. It is really a pleasure to welcome him today in this virtual workshop. Today, he will be delivering a talk on librarians' role and competencies in research data management. So I request all the participants to please join my hand to welcome Mr. Nikesh Narayan. Sir, we welcome you to this session, and we expect that the talk which we have scheduled is going to be beneficial with your rich experience in managing the research data. So I am thankful to all the participants for being such a wonderful audience and also for all their cooperation throughout means the program. At the end of session, we also will have the question and answer session. Hope yesterday's session was useful to all, and you must have got an idea about the research data management, but we are going to have more detail about the role of librarian, role of libraries, and what are the different competencies involved in managing research data management. So with these words, I would like to request Mr. Nikesh Narayan, sir, to please take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible, Mr. Tripathi?
Yes, you're audible.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. So, as he mentioned, I'm working with Zayed University, Dubai. So, I have been working there for the last 5 years. And we have just initiated research data management activities over there. Currently, we have a special librarian for that purpose. So I'm not the one. We have a special librarian for research data management. We recently appointed him. So we are in the beginning stage, but we have done some studies how to implement the research data management in our university, and we are moving according to that plan. So actually, as like in India, the research data management or data management plan is not compulsory in the UAE also. We know that, probably Mr. Tripathi explained yesterday, that this data management plan is very important in the USA and other Western countries. But in UAE, it is not compulsory. But still, we started our initiatives, and we appointed a librarian and we started working on that. So having said that, let me go to my topic. So today's topic is the role of librarians, or the skill set what we need to help our users. So before starting the topic, let me share my presentation. Please pardon me for 1 minute. Let me clear the windows. Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see. PPT is not visible, so you change it to PPT mode.
It's not visible?
Your screen is visible, but you switch to the PPT. Your PPT may be in the another window.
All right.
Your entire screen is visible, sir.
All right. So I thought of sharing the entire screen, but PPT is not visible. That's what you said, right?
Yes, your PPT may be open. It may be in the second tab. So you just press Control.
1 minute, 1 minute. Let me share it again.
Yeah.
I hope now it's visible, right?
1 minute. Yeah, it is visible now.
Okay, I'm moving to the full screen mode. Okay. So today's topic is role of libraries in research data management. So yesterday, I think Mr. Tripathi explained what is research data, why research data management is required, and what are the important components of research data management, the life cycle of research data, etc. So I'm not duplicating it again. So we will move to other important topics. Types of research data he has already mentioned, and what is research data management also, you know about that, and what is involved in RDM, and why manage research data, and FAIR principles. This is very important: findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Mr. Tripathi has already explained about that. We will start with the data management plan. I have seen Mr. Tripathi's presentation. So he has explained about data management plan, but we will look into it in detail. So what is a data management plan? In Western world, especially in the US and UK and other European countries, many universities and research organizations made it compulsory to submit your data management plan for getting your research aid. So if you are applying for some research fund, you need to submit your data management plan. So a data management plan contains all the information related to your data of your research project. So typical DMP contents, general description of the data set you need to provide, and you need to tell about the metadata. So we will see what are the metadata related to research data, and ethical and legal compliance of your data, access, sharing, and privacy during the project, and how to reuse the data, and roles, responsibilities, and resources. These are typical DMP content, and it varies organization to organization. So I have given two examples here. One is National Institute of Health. They require final data set formats. So when you submit for your research funding, in the DMP plan, data management plan, you need to provide final data set formats, the documentation, analytic tools necessary to use the data sharing agreements, and how and when the data will be made accessible to users. The same way you can see here a slightly different parameters or requirements needed for National Science Foundation. So there are hundreds of organization that provide you funding, and slight difference might be there, regarding the requirements, but it's almost same. And in order to help you to prepare the data management plan, there are various tools available. I have given some famous tools here, examples of some famous tools here that are being used by hundreds of researchers. The first one is DMP tool by the University of California Curation Center, and the second one is DMP Online by the University of Edinburgh, and also RDM plan template by the University of Melbourne, Australia. So you can go to this tool and you can create a free account. These are all free tools. And when you go to the tool, so actually I have seen my PPT now, otherwise I would have seen, and after the presentation, I will show you how to go to the tool and how to create your account. So it's really simple. Just create an account, and when you start creating a DMP, data management plan, the tool will ask you which organization you belongs or which research funding agency you want to submit the DMP. So when you select the organization, the system or the tool will load you that format. So you need to fill the columns and just take printout, or you can upload or you can download the DMP plan and submit to the concerned organization. It is so easy. So just go to these tools and try by yourself. But in India, this DMP is not required. I believe probably some institutions have already started to get for getting your research funding. In UAE, it is not necessary, but we always ask our researchers, particularly Zayed University researchers, to create their DMP plan, the data management plan. And next thing is we would talk about some best practices in research data management. Why I'm talking about the processes and the best practices, as librarians, we should know, we should have this skill set to help our users. So we should know about the best practices in research data management. So I have given 6 points here, starting from file organization and formats, then metadata and how to deal with the sensitive data, data storage and backup, data sharing, and data citation. There are other parameters also, but we identified these 6 are the important parameters, and we should not know the best practices in these areas. So first of all, we will start with the file organization and format. So before choosing a file format, there are some guidelines. These are the best practices. We should use non-proprietary format. For example, if you use some proprietary formats, probably tomorrow or after 1 year, that software or that format may cease to work, or that organization who produced this format or software, they ceased its publication or its continuity, then you will be in trouble. So always keep try to use the non-proprietary formats, and we need to advise our users to in the same way. And that format should be interoperable among various platforms and applications. And I will show you some examples of open formats, and it should be fully published and available royalty free. And you can go through these guidelines, and I will share the presentation with Mr. Tripathi, and you will get it. So you can go through these guidelines, and these are some of the open file formats. These are only few I have listed, but when you work in a specified area, you need to inquire, or you should be in a position to advise your users which is the best file format that they can use. The very common format is, for example, XML or CSV. This would work in all interoperable in diverse platforms. And you can see here other formats like MOV, MPEG, AVI, etc. for the images. and for the sound, wave, AIFF, etc., MP3. And I have listed some formats here. You can go through this. And if you are interested, not interested, as librarians, we should learn, we should increase our skill set to help our users. So it is always better to go through to various university sites. So I have identified some sites which are useful, which describe about various file formats. You can go through these sites and learn more about the file formats. For example, you have Stanford Library's best practices for file formats, and University of Leicester file formats and software, and ANDS file formats, etc. So just go to these sites and learn more about formats. And metadata. Metadata, we librarians are champion of metadata, right? We are dealing with metadata on daily basis, but normally, usually we use two types of metadata. One is Mark 21, and other one is Dublin Core. We all know that Mark 21 we use it for our cataloging purposes, and for the Dublin Core, those who manage the repositories, they know that we use Dublin Core metadata, especially in DSpace and ePrints and other repository software, most of the repository softwares. But when you deal with research data management, you need to learn about more metadata types. For example, each subject has its own metadata types. You cannot describe, for example, agriculture research data with Dublin Core metadata, because Dublin Core metadata has only 14 or 15 elements. You cannot describe all the required parameters of agriculture or nuclear or other subject-specific metadata requirement. So you need to learn about subject-specific metadata, and we should be in a position to advise our users regarding which metadata, subject-specific metadata they should use. And metadata, mainly two types. One is a descriptive metadata, title, author, subject, etc., that we know. And the second one is technical metadata, file type, file size, creation date, compression scheme, etc. So we need to learn more about metadata. I have given a website here. So you can go to that website and learn more about metadata types. And these are some of the discipline-specific metadata that I mentioned earlier. For example, agriculture metadata, element set, astronomy visualization metadata. This is not a comprehensive list, but just some examples, and you would get more examples regarding the discipline-specific metadata from this library guide. So you can go to this link and learn more about discipline-specific metadata types. So as librarians, we should learn more metadata types, and we should be able to provide directions to our users. This is one of the important skill set that we need to acquire. And regarding the sensitive data, we know what is sensitive data. That information that is protested against unwarranted disclosure. So we cannot disclose all the data. So there should be some mechanism to not prevent the access. Sometimes we need to prevent the access or control the access. That's the correct word for sensitive data. And we should take permission before sharing the data. So especially the health data, most of the countries, government and universities or research organizations, they don't share the health data because it is very sensitive. And even if you want to share the data, you need to know how to anonymize the data. So we librarians, if we are dealing with the research data management practices, we need to know, we should know how to anonymize the data, or we should be in a position to advise our users regarding the anonymizing data and sensitive data handling. And the third one is data storage and backup. This is a golden rule, 3-to-1 rule for backups. The have at least 3 copies of your data, and 2, store the copies on 2 different media, and 1, keep 1 backup in different location. These are the 3-to-1 rule. It's very famous rule. And while choosing the storage media, we need to act based on our needs. So we can tell our users, portable storage media, please avoid, because it's risky and vulnerable to loss. And university network is really good if they want to share the data with their colleagues or the students or classmates, or the research mate in the university. And cloud service is suitable if they want to collaborate with partners from outside the university. So according to their needs, they need to choose the location of the media storage and location. And data sharing. Data sharing, the main benefit of data sharing is avoid duplication. I think yesterday Mr. Tripathi has already covered this. And scientific integrity. So I just tell you an example. If I'm doing a research and if I share my data, the other people can validate my research. Otherwise, if I just publish my research output as an article or a thesis, nobody can test the validity of my research if you don't get the research data. So if I share the data, that would give me more scientific integrity and also more collaboration opportunities. People may use this data for to do other researches, and probably I will get more collaboration and also increase citation. We will talk about more citation in the next slide. For example, even before you publish your research article or you publish your thesis or dissertation, you can publish your research data. And there are some data-specific journals now. We will talk about that in the coming slides. You can publish your research data only, not your final output. And when you publish your research output, you can cite your research data. So that would give you more chance for getting cited. And these are some of the drivers for sharing research data: public expectation, government agenda, and institutional agenda. Public expectation means, for example, if you are getting fund from public universities or government aided institutions, so the public expect that you would share your data with them for the society benefits. So these are some of the drivers for sharing the data. And regarding the data citation, we already talked about the benefit of data citation. And we know that there are different style manuals for normally for that citation of for example, Harvard style. We know about different style. In the same way, for the data citation also, there are some style manuals. And you can get more information about data citation manuals from this source. So we should know about how to cite data also. We should be in a position to tell our researchers. So please increase your skills by learning more about data citation. And data repositories. Yesterday, Mr. Tripathi explained about data repositories. These are directories. Directories means, which list all the repositories. These are some of the actual repositories. Harvard Dataverse. These are general repositories. There are 2 types of repositories. One is multidisciplinary repositories, where you can store all research areas like physics, chemistry, or social science, or mathematical, whatever you can store in the multidisciplinary repositories. But some repositories are subject-specific repositories. The main difference is that, it all depends on the metadata. For example, in Harvard Dataverse, probably we will not find all the metadata elements that are required for storing a nuclear science research data set, okay, or an agriculture research data set. In that case, you need separate subject-specific repositories. We talked about subject-specific metadata earlier. So in subject-specific repositories, they keep subject-specific metadata. So it is easier for a researcher, or he will find the suitable metadata set in those kind of repositories. But in general repositories, you will find only general metadata sets to describe your research data. These are some of the general repositories: Harvard Dataverse, Triad Digital Repository, Figshare, Mendeley Data, Zenodo. Harvard Dataverse is very famous, which is maintained by Harvard University. You can create free accounts in Harvard Database. There are two options. You can create an individual account, or your organization can go and enter agreement with Harvard Database. I have seen that the Indian Institute of Science has an agreement with Harvard Database. Probably other Indian universities also have, but I didn't find anyone, and I couldn't find any other universities. Probably that would be there. And if you wish to sign agreement with Harvard Database, you can always contact them, and they would provide free space for you. But if there's some limit for the space, but if you want more space, probably you need to pay. But for the individual researchers, it's free. You can always create an account in Harvard Database and keep your research data over there. It's very secure. And in other repositories also, Figshare and Mendeley Data, you can deposit your research data. And we talked about subject-specific repositories. These are some of the subject-specific repositories: chemistry, computer science, earth and environmental sciences. I have listed some of the subject-specific repositories here. You can click on the link and learn more about these repositories. And when we talked about data, data citation also. So nowadays there are some data-specific journals. So these journals publish only data, not your research articles or research output. So even before you publish your research article, you can publish your research data. For example, BMC research notes, data in brief. Data in brief, I think it's by Elsevier, and scientific data, I think it's by Science, and Research Data Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences, Journal of Open Health Data, Journal of Open Humanities Data. These are some of the data-specific journals. So it's easier for you to publish your research data before your research article. For example, to publish a research article, that article has to go through various tedious peer review process, and it would take, for example, 6 to 1 year for getting it published. But for the data, it's not very, it has some peer review process, but it's easier than a research article. So you may get chance to publish your data even before your article. And when you publish your research article, you can cite this data, or you can link this data with your research article. So just go through this research journal and learn more in details. So these are all the skill set that we need to acquire. We need to know about the data-specific journals. We should advise our users to publish their research data in these journals before they start publishing in their research articles. And for the data searching, we have seen many repositories. Each repository has its own robust search mechanism. For example, Harvard has its own, Mendeley has its own, and Triad has its own. But Google Dataset Search is a platform where you can search most of these repositories. I think Google dataset now index almost all repositories. So it's a kind of a comprehensive dataset search. So I have given the link here. So you can go and try these links and see how it works. And why should libraries support RDM? This is our real question. And what skill set we need? Actually, in most of the libraries in the Western world, libraries took the lead in research data management. So this has been there for the last decade. I mean, last 10 years or so. But in our country, we have recently started, and some special research special libraries. I think they are in this field for the last 2-3 years, and some research organizations, they have their own repositories, but this is not very developed field in our country. So as librarians, we should take initiatives, and conduct workshops extra. This workshop is really a very good initiative by Mr. Tripathi. So likewise, many research organizations and library associations, they should engage in conducting research, workshop, to empower and to make our librarians small skillful in this kind of activities. So librarians are really we engage in various activities apart from our traditional library field. Now we are the champions of open access leadership roles in many universities. We promote open access. Rather than promoting open access, now we encourage our faculty and researchers to publish in open access journals. And in many universities started, creating agreements with the publishers to publish, that university professors or research scholars article in the open access journals. There are some institutional agreements. I think some university in India have already started this. This practice has been there in the Western countries for the last 5-6 years. Many universities signed agreement with publishers, and the university pay for the researchers. So researchers need not pay the article publishing cost. So this is a different topics I just mentioned here. And we librarians often run publication repositories like DSpace or reprints, etc. So we know about metadata. But this our knowledge is not enough. We need to learn more about metadata types, and we have good relationship with the researchers. We always talk to researchers. They always approach us for various research help, how to reference, do the referencing, etc. So we have good relationship with them, and we have proven liaison skills. In my library, we have special liaison librarians for each subject area. For example, School of Business Studies, we have a liaison librarian. So he has very good contact with the researchers of that particular department and also the faculties of that department. So it would be easier for him to implement the data into that department, the data practices into that department. So we have knowledge of information management, and we have highly relevant skill set. And these are some of the possible roles. So Mr. Tripathi has covered it yesterday. We can help our institution to create the data policy and bringing data into undergraduate and graduate research-based learning, teaching data literacy. Now we teach information literacy, engage in providing information literacy. So we can include data literacy also. So in the data literacy, we need to provide various aspects of data management and helping researchers to write DMPs, data management plan, that we have covered. Like we have various tools. So we can introduce these tools to our researchers and our students. Sorry. And we can advise on data sharing and data citation. So you can go through this plan. These are some of the possible role of libraries. And these are some of the potential challenges. Yes, skill set is one of the main challenge. We have some skill set. We know about metadata. We know how to organize the materials. So, but we need to upskill our abilities to engage in research data management. So, a deep understanding is necessary, especially scientific research and our level of subject knowledge. And translating library practices into research data issues. That is a challenge. Usually we engage in library practices like in a classification, cataloging, and other reference management, etc. But we need to look into more. So when we start working, we will face a lot of issues. We need to answer many questions. So before that, we need to take some courses, some on research data management. Then we will understand more about this concept. So in the last slide, we will explain some of the open access or courses that we can go, or we can take before starting our practice. So we will discuss about that. And another challenge is, will researchers looking to libraries for this support? This, I think, this is a challenge, but if we have good relationship with the researchers, if our skill set is good, if we are in a position to describe them or advise them on various topics or activities related to research data management, they would definitely come to us. So we need to, as I mentioned earlier, we need to upskill our abilities. So still need resources and develop infrastructure. Yeah, that's really a challenge that we need institutional support. So in order to get the institution support, we need to provide a plan for the institution. And if our leadership team or the management team approve our plan, they would definitely help library to build such an infrastructure. But for writing a plan or writing a project plan, we need to learn first what we should do, how can we help the researchers. Then only our plan would be comprehensive, and we can convince our leadership team. So these are some of the RDM skills and training. You can go through these links and learn more about research data management concept and how to practice research data management, what are the and enhance your skills. And there's a free course, research data management sharing, on Coursera. It's free, but if you're looking for certification, then you need to pay after that. But just for enrolling the course and learning it, it's free. And research data management Librarian Academy, I think it's by Elsevier. So this is also a free one. So you can enroll for this course and learn. They provide various case studies, various examples, etc. So I have gone through this course. It's a very good course. And various universities like Oregon State University, University of Pittsburgh, and various other universities also, they provide guides and small courses on research data management. I have listed only few universities here. So I'll share my presentation with Mr. Tripathi, and I hope in the coming days probably he will show you data management tools and Harvard research. Harvard Dataverse, etc. Then you will get more understanding about this. So let me stop sharing now. So I'm open to questions.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for your talk and giving detail about the different competencies required in librarian, and how we can upgrade our skill in order to meet the requirement for managing our research. I will request you, sir, if you can please just share the DMP tool website and how to log in and all. So the participants will get better idea that how they can log in, if it is possible at your end.
Right. So let me share my screen again. 1 minute. I'll screen my entire screen. 1 minute.
Yes. Or you can simply share your browser only, the particular tab. So it
Chrome
will.
tab. Okay, yeah. All right, okay. So, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, I'll just.
All right, okay. Okay, so we will start with the DMP Online. I will show you an example of a DMP tool, data management plan tool. So, so first you need to create an account here. Let me log out. You can create an account here, and after creating an account, you can sign in to that account, and you need to provide necessary details. So I have created a project title for the COVID research. So if you go to your dashboard, that would provide you all your research templates that you have already created. So you can create a new plan here, for example. Okay, then the system will ask you what research project are you planning. Let me give some example. Library research. You can give your specific research topic here and the organization. So if your university has some agreement with this DMP Online, then it will list your organization's name. For example, university, you can see University Campus, Suffolk, Department of Radiology, University of Cambridge, etc. So if you do not have if your university doesn't have any collaboration with this tool, you can click here, no research organization associated with this plan, or my research organization not listed. Another thing is that if you are getting fund from a research organization, then you can select that organization here. For example, University of let me select Aberystwyth University. So otherwise, you can click here, no research organization associated, and the funder also. If you get fund from some, for example, National Science Foundation USA. I'm just taking an example. Otherwise, you can click here, no funder associated with this plan. Then create plan. Then it asks for various details like project title, project abstract, start date, end date, then grant number, etc. Then you can save. Then it asks for your, if you save this, then the system will ask you for your data sharing plans, what metadata that you are going to use, and that all your data related plans it will ask. For example, let me give some numbers here. Okay, provide a URL to the awardees landing page. So I don't have any grant as of now, but what we will do is we will instead of giving a research or grant, we will click here, no research organization associated, and create a plan. Okay. So, and project abstract, library science, some start date and end date. Okay. Funder, so as university, then save. Then add a contributor. If you don't have a contributor, no need to add. Then plan overview. Contributors, and add a contributor. For example, your OrcID account. If you have an OrcID account, you can give your contributor's role, whether he is a data management or principal investigator or project administrator. For example, I have given principal investigator and save. Okay, so that is created. Then you can plan overview. So you can write a plan here. Just, uh, for example, if you have a funding organization, the system would give you a template which is needed for that funding organization. So in my case, I'm not associated with any funding organization. So I think the system would give me a general plan. For example, the data collection. For example, these are the various parameters you need to fill. Data collection. You need to write about your plan for the data collection, and also you need to write about uh, documentation and metadata, ethics and legal compliances. So when I took the presentation, I have explained all this. Then data storage and backup, selection and preservation, how to share your data, and responsibilities and resources. So when you fill all these details, just to save it, then you can share this with your funding organization, or you can download it. It's very simple. You just need to fill out all these columns. So filling out these columns, you will get help also. In way, you can go to the help field and get the help. So just try this field. Sorry, try these tools, and you have all the help here. And if you have any doubt, please go to the documentation file, or you can ask me. Actually, I'm not using this tool. We are using the DMP tool, the other one. So I will show you that also. For example, the DMP tool, but my sign in is not working now. I think there is some errors. I tried. So I need to reset my password. It is not working. You can see here, EMP, invalid email or password. So sorry about that. So you can either use DMP tool or org, or you can use DMP Online. This one is University of California. This one is from the UK. So in both tools, it's almost similar. You need to write your plan about all these parameters like data collection, documentation, ethics and legal compliances, etc. Then you can share, you can save, you can share, and you can download. That's about DMP tool. And now we will look at the Harvard database. Uh, Harvard database is a repository for sharing your research data. So I think I haven't used this for quite a long time. So I need to again reset my password. So you can create a free account here. You can sign up for an account, and you can give username and password and other details, and just agree the conditions. Then you would get a login name and password, and using that login name and password, you can share. You can deposit your research data into the Harvard database, and there would be a curation, like checking process. The Harvard team would check your data whether it meet all the compliances. I mean, like all the parameters. Then they would make it shareable with others. So this is about the Harvard database. Sorry that I could not log in now. So probably in the coming days, you can try it out, or we will show it again in the coming sessions, like how to store your data in Harvard database. So you have various options to select your metadata. There are 3-4 types of metadata. So you can select those metadata based on your requirements. But as I mentioned, this Harvard database is not suitable for very subject like nuclear science or agriculture science, etc., to describe all your data sets. In that case, you need to go for subject-specific repositories. But just go to the site, create an account, and if you experience any issues, just to share with others so that we can find some solution for that. So thanks, Dr. Tiwari, but sorry that I couldn't log in. So
No issue, sir. We'll discuss in the next session. No issue. We'll
yeah,
create
yeah,
ID and we'll show them.
right,
So,
right.
sir, sincere thanks to you for showing all the details. I guess it will be really beneficial for the participants, and they would have understood the process that how they can go to DMP Online or dmptool.org to create the data management plan. So the process you have means explained in detail. Now it's up to the participant now that they go and they create the data management plan and they experience that what are the details required for creating the DMP means data management plan. You have touched upon almost every skill required for managing the research data. So sincere thanks to you, sir. And now may I request the participant? I can see so means many of them have written very kind words, given good comments, and it shows that they have benefited themselves with your talk. And now I will request all the viewers, participants to please, if you have any query or question, so you can enter in the chat box, and the same will be displayed on the screen. Accordingly, this sir will be answering all your query if you have any query or question. And now the question session is open to all. Please, if you have any query or question, you can just type in the chat box. So, but what I would like to mention here that two sessions we had, and we have given enough information about the introduction, what are the things we should know, and how the research data management practice or life cycle takes place. So, I will request all of you to just please start thinking about the processes and also experience is that how you are going to manage everything. Sir has demonstrated 2 3 points in between the session that how you have to follow the format, how you can go and find follow the guideline. So this is my humble request to all the viewers, participants, to please go to that guideline and just go through and learn that how you are supposed to follow the guideline in order to have the proper format for managing your research data. So that will really give you a more knowledge, more information. And then if you come across any query or question, so please do not hesitate to share with us. We will try to give you solution in the coming next session. So far, I did not get any query. I think all are satisfied with your talk. But still, if you have any query or question, so you can write mail to me at dptripathi79@gmail.com, and definitely we will answer those query. I'll transfer to sir, and he will be answering whenever he has time. He will reply to that query which you have. So, sir, thank you very much for accepting the invitation, being the part of this virtual workshop, being one of the committee member for this 5 days virtual workshop. And we also hope the future collaboration, not only for this workshop, but in future we'll have more session on research data management to give more knowledge about research data management practices, to learn more about the different repositories, to learn more about managing metadata, the different challenges involved in managing the research data management practice, and so many things. So really, I am happy to add that today's session has been really very good for the professionals. And thank you very much for once again for accepting and being the part of this workshop. May I request you, sir, before we, yeah, one question is from uh, Chalanki Bare. I think I'll share this question. Sarji, when journals make it mandatory to submit data set and site reference, what protocol to follow in order to ensure my data set is secure and which repository or platform is best to upload? I think his question is related to security.
Okay, that's a really very good question. There are various data repositories available now. We have listed some of the famous repositories, secured repositories in my presentation, like Harvard Dataverse, Triad repositories, Mendeley repositories, etc. But it depends on your requirement. You need to check all these repositories whether it meets your metadata requirements. For example, if you are doing some very specific kind of research like nuclear research or some agriculture research or environmental research, probably you need the subject specific metadata set to describe your data sets. So in that case, you need to go to the subject specific repositories. So I have given some examples of subject specific repositories. You can go to that site. I'm not sure whether your subject is included in that. And I have given a link which describe which list more repositories and also the directories of repository, RE3 data, etc. we have provided in the presentation yesterday. Mr. Tripathi also provided that. So you would get details about more repositories. All these famous repositories are very secure, but you need to go to their terms and conditions. Normally, we accept the terms and conditions by clicking check mark, but you need to go in details and see their policies regarding the data, protection and privacy, and also about the sensitive data. For example, if you are doing a research with the sensitive data, so you need to check individually in each repositories what is their policy, how to control the sensitive data. Is there any mechanism for that? We cannot say in general that all the repositories have that facilities, but you need to check in details. No, usually, if you are doing a general social science research, Harvard repositories database is one of the best, and it's free also. I think you can load 2 to 4 GB data without giving any cost, and also triad repositories, Mendeley data, etc. is also really good. But you need to check your requirement and also your requirement like sensitivity of your data and the metadata requirement, etc. And before publishing, as you said, now many journals, many prestigious journals from ask the data citation also. So you need to repost your data and give the citation. Normally, that journal provider itself, for example, Elsevier, they have data repositories. You can share Mendeley is Elsevier data repository. So you can share your data in Mendeley and provide that link in your article. Yeah. I think that I answered your questions, but for more specific requirements, we need to go in detail and check all the features and conditions in each repository. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your answer. He is writing one more question. Shall
Yeah.
I display it? When it comes to sensitive, identifiable personal information, our privacy may be encroached. You have answered this one also. Thank you very much. So
No.
he is thanking you for the query. Thank you very much, Mr. Bare, for your question and also for your kind words. So I again thank you all the viewers and participants to be very interactive in this session. We will again meet tomorrow with we have 3 more sessions. So we will be discussing more in detail about other aspect of research data management. So we will be having tomorrow one more session, and that will be taken care by Dr. Neeraj Kumar Singh, Deputy Librarian from Punjab University, and he will be discussing about some other aspect of research data management. So I will request you all to please join the session at the same time tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'll be sharing the link to your registered email ID. And I will request all the participants to please stay safe, stay happy, and follow all the guidelines and stay protected from the current situation. And with these words, I may request Nikesh sir to please give his closing remark for today's session and also the final message to all the participants. Over to you.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Tripathi, for giving me this platform to interact with our colleagues and research scholars. Probably, I think most of them are librarians. So this is really a wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge and also getting their views. And as I mentioned, the research data management activities are in the initial stage or in the development process in India. So as librarians, we need to acquire more skill set and more knowledge. Whatever information you get from various sources, I have listed some of the very good sources where you can go and take that course, or get certification from that institution. For example, Coursera, you get certifications. Librarians Academy, you get certifications. So that would be beneficial. So I'm sure in future, in most of the universities and research organizations and funding organizations, India are going to implement or going to ask you data management plan, or they're going to implement data management repositories. So if you are equipped yourself, that would be a great opportunity for all of us librarians to participate in that initiatives, and probably career progress is also possible. So keep enhancing your skill set. That's all my advice. So you can contact me if you have any doubt. I'm not expert. We are also in the initial stage of developing our data management activities in our university. Luckily, I have a research data management librarians. I think in future in India also there would be a new career related to data management post, data librarians or research librarians, etc. So if you learn more about this subject, and if you are equipped, probably you can switch over to that position also to help our researchers. Thank you very much. So thanks all for attending. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Wish you all a very happy evening. Please take care of yourself and family too. Bye bye. We will meet tomorrow again.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.